Select count star as num nurses from nurse table. So let us run this query. It will give you how many rows are in the nurse table. So there are total 12 rows in the nurse table. The count aggregate function find either, as I told you, the number of rows in a table or the number of values in a column. How many patient names are there in the patient table? So in order to see the result, so you can use the count function. Any one of the column title from the patient table, select count patient name as num patient names from patient. Then we have another question. How many distinct names are there in the patient? So let us see the both the queries will produce the same result or not. So let us run this query. Select count patient name as num patient names from patient table. So let us try the one with the distinct, whether it is producing the same data. So now we are able to see 16 rows. The previous query was giving you, so I'll just show you again. The first one without this distinct is giving you number of rows 18. But when we use the distinct keyword, what happened? It is eliminating the duplicates, and now you are able to see here only 16 rows. Aggregate function sum, max, and min. The sum of all values in the collection. Duplicate values are ignored if distinct is used. Max, the maximum value in the collection. Distinct has no effect. Min, same as max except that it select the minimum value in a data set. So we have an exercise here. Use the hospital database card to determine what table the following query would produce. Select max price from drug and try with the minimum. Instead of maximum, try to display the minimum value. Let us go to the interactive. Select max price from drug. You can see 1.05 is the maximum price of the drug in the drug table. Let us see the drug table to verify your answers. Select star from the RUG drug table. So you can see the drug table shows all the prices. From this one, we are going to display the maximum. So you can see the maximum price is 1.05. So let me change the max to min in order to see the minimum price from the drug table. It will give you 0.01, which is the lowest price. So we have seen the simple queries with select and from. Now we're going to start with the where clause to give a condition or more filtered result will be available from this one. We have an activity here, activity 2.6. What are the staff numbers of all staff members who are called Jennings? We know that the staff table is a table in university database. Let us go back to our ISQL. Let us disconnect from the hospital database by pressing F12 and again pressing F11. I'm going to connect to the university database. Select university database, click OK and OK. Now we are connected to the university database. So we are going to display the staff number from staff where name is equal to Jennings. So we are going to display only who is Jennings. So before we run this query, I wanted to see the results, the details of select star from staff table. So you can see all the details of the staff table. We need to display or we need to produce a filtered result. What is our condition? We need to display the staff number of the staff whose name is only what Jennings. We need to display only the Jennings. Um, so it is displaying the staff number of Jennings. So if I wanted to see the name also, I can say staff name or name. You should know the title of the column. So here it is name. So you can see staff number and then Jennings. Just displayed here. So this is the logical processing. As usual, initial specified table, copy the data from the initial specified table to the first intermediate table. Then we have a condition where copy each row which satisfies the search condition specified in the where clause to create a second intermediate table. After filtering, we have the second intermediate table. Then copy data in the column specified in the select clause from the intermediate table to create the final table. If the distinct operator is used after select in the clause, each copied row is ignored if it is already appeared in the final table, and finally the final table will be produced. So we have another exercise here. List the student identifier, course code and mark where the mark is greater than the average mark for all assignments. The question says display the student identifiers, course code and the mark. What is the condition where the mark is greater than the average mark? Display only the student details whose mark is greater than the average mark for all assignments. So if you run the following query, this not answer, this query is not an answer to your question. The query says select student ID, course code, comma mark from assignment where mark greater than average mark. So let us run this query in I try to run this query and see the result. It says an error, could not execute statement, invalid use of an aggregate function. So let us go back. So cannot use average in the where. So we know that the result, the aggregate functions are not allowed to use along with the where clause. Another exercise, list the student identifier, course code, and mark for each assignment submission in the assignment table where the mark awarded is greater than the average mark for all assignment submission. If we use in aggregate function along with the where clause, we know that it will not work. So the solution is we can run this query in two different steps. For example, first of all, you can calculate the average mark. Once you get the average mark, you can substitute the value of that average mark to the new query where we use the where clause. Let us try this in ISQ. Select average mark as average mark from assignments. You get a result 71.45. So now we have the value. Now we are able to, so you have to remember the value. What is the average? 71.45. The second query can be run. Select student ID, course code, mark from assignment where mark greater than 71. So you are able to see here the result. Only the student's details whose mark is greater than the average, which is 71.45. Actually, we have done this result. This and this question we answered in two different steps. So we'll see in the coming lecture solution for this problem. Now, we have an activity. Using the hospital database, run the following query. Select average price as average price from drug, where type is equal to painkiller. What is the question of this query? English. What is the average price of painkiller? So we are displaying. So we know that this query is going to run because it is going to display only one row. The average price will be one row, and it is going to display what the average price of the painkiller only. Let us run this query here. Select average price as average price from drug where type is equal to painkiller. So now we can see the average price of painkiller as a result. What is the average height to weight ratio in centimeter per kilogram of the male patients? So we have to calculate the average height to weight ratio. So we need to use an aggregate function here. And what is the condition? We need to display only the average height to weight ratio of the male patients only. So you can use the query select average height divided by weight. So which will calculate the average of the height divided by weight as average from HW ratio. From where? From the patient table. And what's the condition? Where gender is equal to male. So it is going to display the average height to weight ratio of the male patients. So it says that 2.35. So suppose if I change this one into F or the female, so you can see 2.8 is the average of the female patient height to weight ratio. So change to M, you can see it will give you 2.35. Now let us see the and or not operators along with the where clause. List the female patients whose name is not Mahar and who have either height less than 160 or weight greater than 60. So we have three conditions here. Number one, we don't want the patient what is the name Mahar and which is a female patient. So two conditions. It should be a female and name is not Mahar, and again we have another condition, height less than 160 centimeter and weight greater than 60. So we know that we need to select patient details, right? For example, we need to display patient ID and the patient name. From where? From patient. So let us solve this question in step by step and see what is the result. See at the beginning, I just typed select patient ID, patient name from patient. So I can see the result, all the patients in the patient table. Now I'm going to give a condition where ID or the gender is equal to male. The gender I need to see only the male patient. Now we can see we are going to filter with the gender. So now let us see. Now we have at the beginning we have 18 rows. Let us see how many rows are here. So now you can see we sorted, we filtered the data. We can see only the female patients. Now we can go for the next two conditions. So you can see here and height less than 160 or weight greater than 60. So now again we are going to filter, right? So now we display the female patients. Now again and what is the next condition? Either height is less than 160 or its weight greater than 60. So again it is filtered to 4 rows. You can see these are the patients with height less than 160 or weight greater than 60. And the last condition is we don't want to display the details of the patient whose name is Mahar. So we are adding the third condition and not patient. So patient name not equal to Mahar. You can use another operator called not, N-O-T, not, where patient name is equal to Mahar. Not patient name is equal to Mahar. So here we have 4. Let us run this query and see. You can see the last line Mahar is eliminated. So without this one, you are able to see the details of P39 Mahar. Once I remove, I don't want the patient called Mahar in my this output. So now it is eliminating the patient called Mahar. Now we have the between operator along with the where clause. Question says, list the prescriptions for which the quantity falls within the range 50 to 100 inclusive. We're going to display, we need to display the prescription quantity where the quantity is between 50 and 100. So you can use an operator called between 50 and 100. Select prescription number, quantity from which table? From the prescription table where quantity between 50 and 100. See, let us see how many are there. So it says 56, 100 and 80. Let me change this value to say for example 20 and see what is the result. So I can see the values between 20 to 100. So let me change this one to 80 instead of 100. So let us see the result. So it is giving me the details from where 20 between 20 and 80. So if you are trying to filter values between a starting value and an end value, or within a range, you can always use an operator called between. Now we have another operator called in operator. List the patients whose patient identifiers are P37, P78, and P87. See, here we know the patient IDs. So, in situations like if you are aware of the data in advance, but it's not a large data, like for example, 2 items, 3, 4 items, if you know them in advance, you can always use what? The in operator. So here it says that we need to display the patients whose IDs are P37, P78, and P87. So you can use patient ID, what is that, in, because we know them in advance. The values are known in advance. Select patient ID, patient name from patient, where patient ID in, we have the values P37, P78, and P80. So let us run this query and see the result. So you can see only the details of that three particular patients. So if you know them in advance, you can use the in operator. Using not with between and in. Both between and in can be used with not as, where A not between B and C, where not A within bracket A between B and C, or where credits not in 30, 60, because here we know that only two values 30 and 60 can be, we can use no in. So not in will negate the statement. So we have finally the another operator here in this lecture, the like operator. The like operator used to match a value from a column of something string type with a non-string or part of a string. Suppose if you know the part of the string and we don't know the remaining characters, so you can use, there are two wildcard characters used here. One is the underscore and the other one is the percentage sign. Find drugs whose name starts with a C and whose letter second from the end is an I. So the question says find drugs. Of course, we know that this is from the drug table. Drug details are in the drug table. Find drugs whose name starts with a C. That means we know the starting letter. What is the starting letter? C. And the remaining characters we don't know. And it says again another condition. The second last character is an I. So let us see this one practically. So let me just minimize this. Remove this. Select drug code, drug name from drug and see. Let me see the details of this one. Now we need to display the details of the drugs which is starting with the letter C and we don't know the remaining characters. See, I just wrote C and the percentage sign. So I'm able to see all the drug names starting with the letter C. That means percentage sign is used for the remaining all missing characters. So let me start with D. So I'm able to see what all the drug names starting with the D. So let me see if there is an A percentage. So it shows what all drug names starting with the character A. So let us go back to our question. So it says that first letter should be what? C. And remaining characters we don't know, but we know the last character, right? So it says in the question, the last character ends with I. Second last character is I, the last character we don't know. So the second last character is I. After the second last character, how many characters? Only one. So single character we can use an underscore. So if any single character is missing, you can always use what? An underscore to represent that. So let us see here. So here look at this one. This is starting with a C. Second last character is an I. Here again you can see starting with the letter C and the second last character is an I.